Good morning, everyone. I welcome you all to the ongoing lecture series in C programming. And in this video, we will see how to make complex data types in C in the form of structures. So, uh, we have seen that the inbuilt data types are integer, character, and float. So these are the inbuilt data types in C programming. Now there are various data items which cannot be stored in these fundamental data types. These are called basic data types. Okay, basic data types, inbuilt data types, or in some of the books you can also find their name as fundamental data types. Okay, but the data like suppose we want to store information about a book, so a book can be having its book name, some id can be there can be author name, there can be price information related to it, and there can be other information such as number of pages, etc., related information to the book. Now this information about the book cannot be stored directly in the fundamental data types, but we can see that the individual information about this entity, this book is called an entity. Fundamental about information about the entity, or I can say the attributes about this entity can individually be stored in fundamental data types. That is, that suppose we see that this book name can be a character array. Okay, now this id, if it is a integer based id, so it can be stored in integer. The author name can be a character array. The price can be a float. Okay, and the number of pages is obviously integer. Okay, so in this way we can see that the complete information cannot be stored, the complete info set of information cannot be stored in any fundamental data type, but individual information or individual attribute about an entity can be stored in the relevant fundamental data type. So such data types, such entities which are which requires some complex information to be stored, are need to be made complex data types. Complex data types. So they are also called user defined data types. User defined data types. So why user defined? Because they are specific to the particular problem that user need you for the programmer needs to solve for the user. Okay, so user defined data type is simply means any data type which is required to be defined for the purpose of the user. Okay, so the user has some application and the programmer needs to define a new complex data type to store the data related to the need of the user. Okay, so this in this way we have structure in the form of complex data type in C programming. So complex data types in C programming are handled. Complex data type in C programming is handled with the help of structures. So structures are nothing but complex data type, that is collection of elements of different data types. Different data types. So if we define or if we distinguish array with the structure, so array we had that collection of elements of the same data type, it was array. Okay, but in structures we have collection of elements, or we can say members, collection of member elements as of different data types. Okay, they may be of same data type but they have different existence. Like book name, this is a different attribute for the particular entity. ID, it has a different entity. You can see that ID and pages have the same data type, but these are two different informations. Okay, so for particular entity, particular and physical entity, we have some different properties. Attributes can also be taken as properties or characteristics, or characteristics. Okay, so in this way, for a particular physical entity, definitely this entity should have a physical existence, because it would have some attributes and properties, and only the entities which are in physical existence, they only have the attributes. Okay, so here this is one of the examples. Suppose I want to create some store some information regarding a student. So student can have student ID related to it, its name related to it, its father name related to it. Okay, the percentage that is student has obtained, and there may be some other data related to it. So student ID, it can be an integer, name can be in character array, father's name can also be in character array, and percentage can be in float. You can see that the information, a single information about a student can be made be made with the help of different individual informations related to it. These informations are called attributes, member, and these are the and this is the entity. Okay, this will become our user defined data type. This will become our user defined data type, and this will become our members of the data type, members of data type, right? Okay, so we will see it where structured declaration. Let us see how the structures are declared in C programming. So this is done with the help of this keyword, that is struct, struct. In a small, this is a keyword. So struct keyword is used for declaration of a, this is a keyword. Okay, and it is used for declaration of a structure, or we can say it as a user defined data type. A complex data type is created with the help of struct keyword. Okay, so the name of the user defined data type is this name of user defined data type. Okay, so this, in this way, this book is the name of user defined data type or name of the structure. And here you can see that this structure has these number of member elements, and with from the definition, that is collection of elements of different data types, we can see that these are member elements, and they have different data types, and individually they all have their existence, they all have their importance, and they all are the attributes for the particular book. Okay, particular entity which is a book. Okay, so you can see here that a book ID, this can be in the integer, or then there is a book name, and there is a name, stands for author name. We have assumed that the book name would be of 40 characters, author name would be of 30 characters. N pages is the number of pages, and it is taken in integer. Then a price would be there, which is taken in float. Okay, integer addition, this can also be an information, which is the addition in integer, that is 1 2 3, whichever is the addition. Then we also have taken character p name. P name is the publisher name. Okay, so this information regarding a book can be stored, and this is a user defined data type book, which is not why it is required, because if you want to store directly information of a book in C programming, you don't have any inbuilt data type, right? Because book requirement of the book, the information about the book requires different fundamental collection of different fundamental data types, collection of the data, which the data has the different fundamental data types. So the collection of the attributes of fundamental data type is called structure. Okay, so here you can define another structure, that is struct student. Here this is the student, that this is name of the structure, which is student. The name of the structure has to follow all the rules which is related to the identifier declaration, or what we have done in variable declaration. Okay, one more important thing, that the declaration of structure ends with a semicolon. This is an important thing to note, because this would produce an error if you don't place semicolon here. Okay, then you also have to see that what is the proper place where the this declaration is done. This declaration is done in the global space. Okay, and why it is done in the global space? So that global space, you can see from my previous videos of the functions, where what is the global space and what is the importance of this space. But here I will revise for you that and this global space, anything is defined in global space, is available for complete program. That is, all the user defined functions and even main function all have the access to this structure. Okay, so that is why this because we are creating a new data type. So simply like previously, for fundamental data types, variables are created. So we will see further that variables of these user defined data types will also be created. Okay, so that is why this data type needs to be known to all the user defined functions. So that is why it is kept in the global space. Here you can see that some information about the student, or I can say some attribute of a entity student is there. So it means that if there is there exists a student, if exists a student. Okay, so any student in this program would have all of these attributes, at least one value of these attributes. Okay, so one student, every student that would exist in this particular program would have this particular value. Okay, these individual attributes, values of these individual attributes. Now if I ask you that the fundamental data types have their size, okay, so it can be a question in your mind that what is the size of struct. Okay, so as per fundamental data type, the size of the user defined data type or structure defined data type is not constant. Okay, so like we know that integer has 2 bytes or 4 bytes depending upon your compiler, then float has 4 bytes, and character has your 1 byte. Okay, so these are the constants for a particular system. But for structure, the size of the structure, that is size of struct student, you can print it like that by printing the value of this in printf. Size of struct student, you can print this, because this student cannot come directly. You have created a user defined data type, so and with the help of structure, so that would be this struct keyword will always come before student. Okay, the name of the structure. Okay, so this would indicate to the compiler that this student is not a inbuilt data type, it is a user defined data type, and which has been declared with the help of the struct keyword. Okay, so always this student will come as a prefix of struct keyword. Okay, now size of struct student is equals to the summation of sizes of individual member elements. Okay, plus some overhead which is required in some programming languages for alignment purposes. Okay, so this overhead you will not be able to calculate, because this is a random overhead which the compiler itself adds. But anywhere in question or in some any examination, if anything size of structure is question as I asked to you, then what you have to report is the summation of size of individual member elements. That is, if we calculate size of this particular structure book, so we have first integer, we will take 4 bytes, then we have an character array of 40 size, so that would be 40 bytes. Then we have a character array of 30, then 30 bytes. Then n pages is an integer, so 4 bytes. Then a float would be a 4 byte, then integer would be a 4 byte, and then it would be a character array of 30 bytes. So the summation of all this will be the size of the book. Okay, size of structure book. Similarly, here for the student we have 4 plus 30 plus 30 plus character 9, so 9 plus percentage. So why that is percentage is 4. Then you can see the branch code, that is an integer, so it would be 4. And then there is the address, so that would be student address, that is 50. So this summation of all the bytes would be the size of the structure in bytes, so number of bytes. Okay, so one more thing that you can notice here, that character dob has written as a character array of 9 length. So why 9 length? Because we are assuming here, so assuming here that the uh, date is in this format. Okay, y. So there are 8 characters, and in the end that would be null character, so that is why this is taken as the 9. Okay, so you have to think logically that what should be the size of individual member element depending upon your need. So this is how structures are declared. Now we will see how to create the variables of structure. Now first of all, you have to understand that why the variables of structures needs to be created. Okay, we know that the fundamental data types are integer, character, and float. Now only knowing that there would be some integer, there would be some character, or there would be some floating point value, it does not allocates any memory. Okay, and the physical data that needs to be stored always require a memory to be allocated, and memories are allocated only to the variables. Fine. So allocation of memory requires a variable of this particular type needs to be declared. So until unless we declare a type of a variable of that particular data type, we don't get the memory initialized. We don't, sorry, we don't get the memory allocated. Okay, so either you have to do static memory allocation or dynamic memory allocation. Okay, so we will see that we have seen the static memory allocation and dynamic memory allocation in the case of fundamental data types. Now we will see that how to do static memory allocation here, and in the later videos we will also try to see that how to allocate user defined variables dynamically. Okay, so here simply the syntax is always the name of the data type and name of the variable of that data type. Okay, so here you can see that the name of the structure is like this. So one of the method is to declare or to place the name of the variable that you want to create, is to place it here. Okay, so this would become a global variable. Another method to declare in the global space is to write like this: struct book b2. Okay, so it means this b1 and b2, this b1 and b2 both are created globally. Okay, so these are global variables, these will be known by main also, and even if there are some other, if there are some other functions are also there, so it would be known to them also. So this is the benefit of declaration of the global user defined variables. Now you have to notice here that only the name of the structure is not the user defined data type. You have to write the struct keyword before the name of the structure every time you want to declare an element. Now here you will also can notice that this b3 is the local variable to main only. This b3 would be known in the scope of main only, and it is a different block where this b3 has been created. And how to create, like this is simply like writing this integer a. So this whole name of the structure with this struct keyword is like writing int. Okay, so writing int and the name of variable is simply like struct book, and the name of variable is b3. Now what happens up in the memory? Okay, so as soon as this is declared, okay, as soon as this variable is declared, what happens, a memory block is created Okay, now this is complete memory. Suppose this screen is your complete memory, so a memory block is selected whose name is b1, and how much memory would be allocated. Suppose this required 130 bytes. Okay, so 130 bytes block, 130 byte block will be allocated for this, and in this there would be some small spaces, that is, this is the book id. Okay, the different spaces would be allocated for different purposes, that is, this is b name, that would be 40 bytes. Okay, that would be 4 bytes. Then we have contiguous memory allocation for a name. Okay, that is 30 bytes. Then we have n pages. Okay, that is 4 bytes, and so on. So this 130 byte block would have different sub blocks, with different sub blocks of all the member elements. Okay, now if you want to access any member element, okay, we have to access this with the help of the name of the variable. So they individual, the name of the member elements is not accessible directly from the any place. It only they can only be accessed by referring them from the structure variable. We will see how to refer this with the help of the structure variable. Okay, we use the dot operator for that. Dot operator for that. Okay, so referring any variable just require, that is, the name of the variable dot the name of the member variable. So b1 dot book id. Okay, so b1 dot book id, it is simply means that the book id of the book b1. Okay, so b1 is like this. Suppose we also have a 130 byte block, and this block would belong to b2. This b2 will have again the same things: book id, it will have a book name. Okay, as soon as a memory is allocated, all the sub elements, or I can say member elements, they also get the space in the same block. Okay, so there is one block for b1, one block for b2, and another block is there for b3. Okay, and b3 will also have the same member variables as the storage. Okay, so here would also be a book id and other member variables on the same number of bytes which is declared in the structure book. Okay, so can you now make an analogy that if we create integer a, b, and c, it simply means that three integers are created. So if here we have created b1, b2, and b3 of struct book type, it simply means we have created three books. Okay, and we can also understand from this that each of the book has some properties, and these are the list of properties. Okay, so each book has some properties, and there are three books. From this example you can understand this, that there are three books which are b1, b2, and b3, and each of the book has some properties which are defined in the structure. Okay, now let us see that how a structure is made and it is created, it is converted into a user defined data type. So like here we have seen that defining a structure always require this struct keyword to be prefixed before the name of the structure. So can we define the user defined data type out of that? So here you can see that we have defined this structure like this. Now we have used type def. Okay, we have used this type def keyword of the type def keyword of C programming to define this keyword student. Okay, now this is a capital student is defined as the type of the struct student. Now this capital student becomes the name of the data type, similar like we have inbuilt data type. Okay, so now here you can see that instead of writing student struct student in small, instead of writing like this struct student st1, instead of writing like this, we have simply written capital student st1, and this is simply doing like this, integer st1. So in this way, we have defined the type of this struct student to a single word. Generally, these words are written, this type def are written in capital, in uppercase, okay, so that it distinguish from the name of the structure. Okay, so now the complexity of the writing or declaring the variables of structure is reduced, and you can directly use this capital student to declare the function as the user defined data type. Now we will see that how to access and assign structure variables. Okay, so here you can see that we have used three different methods, three different books we have created, that is this b1, this b2, and this b3. Three books are created, and we can also see that these three books will have all of these properties, one value of all of these properties, that is writing like this, b1 dot book id would denote b1 dot, we have used this dot operator here, so writing this b1 dot book id would refer us to the book id of the book b1, which is different from writing this b1 dot book dot id. Okay, so the b2 dot book id is simply means the book id of the book b2. Okay, similarly we have this the same information for book id 3. It does not depend that we assign or not, but if any of the variable, any of the member variable is assigned, all the big other member variables are initialized. Okay, any of one of the member variables is initialized, then remaining all others are also initialized with their respective values. If it is a character, it would get initialized by an null character. If it is a float, it would be initialized by zero point 0. Okay, now we have tried to copy the values or assign the values. So if it is a string, you can assign with the help of strcpy, that is b1 dot a name, that is b1 book 1 dot author name. So it means that the author of the book b1 is this name. Okay, so this name is copied in the book author name of the book first. Okay, then we have changed like b1 dot price equals to 400. So what we have other information we have accessed, that we have assigned the price of the first book to be 400. Then we have seen we have written here that b2 dot n pages equals to 350. It means the number of pages of the book b2 are 350. We have taken some random information of any of the book and just try to access it. I have shown here that what are the different methods to access. You can also, this is the method of assignment. Okay, this is assignment. Okay, this is method of copy string. Okay, and this is a method of scanf. Okay, scanf from user. Okay, so the user inputs can also be taken, but here you have to see that this m% is written before b3. Why? Because actually this address, the base address is denoted, this base address is referred by b1. So address of b1 is this base address. The name of this memory block overall is given as b1. Okay, so address of b1 would be the base address of this particular memory block. And if we refer like this, address of b1 dot book id. Okay, book id, so what does it mean? This book id means for this b1 dot book id means from the address of the base address of b1 we look for the book id. So book id would be these 4 bytes, the first 4 bytes. And obviously the order of the members is maintained in the storage of the structure, that is the first 4 bytes would be book id, the next 40 bytes would be the book name, and the next 30 bytes would be the author name. This is an important thing to note and remember. Okay, so in this way, if it is written like this, ampersand b3 dot book id. Okay, so it means in this memory block which belongs to b3. Okay, and this base address which belongs to ampersand b3, the book id is the first 4 bytes. Okay, so this is asking for a value for to store, to get it stored in this 4 bytes. Okay, so this is what this statement means. Now here you can also see that ampersand b3 dot price. Okay, ampersand b3 dot price, it means price is the next there are 40 bytes. Okay, next there are 30 bytes. Next there are 4 bytes for n pages, and then there is the next 4 bytes for price. Okay, so writing like this ampersand b3 dot price is to get access to this particular segment of 4 bytes inside the b3. Okay, inside the block b3. Okay, and you can also print it by this. In printf you don't use ampersand, and you can directly write b1 dot a name. Some student get confused like if we should write b3 and ampersand price. So this is not a proper syntax to write this, because this price is not a direct referring member. So this b3 this address, this ampersand is always placed before b3, because address of b3 is the only place which is known to us, that is the base address of this block, and from this block you need to access the address which is assigned to this particular member variable. Okay, and one more thing that you can note, that inside main we have access b1 also and b2 also, which are the global structure variables. So since these are global and they have not been defined inside the main, even after that they are able to access this main function, is able to access this b1 and b2. Why? Because they are global variables. So this is what all about accessing and assigning structure variables. Now we will see that how to store a program, or how to make a program to store data about a book. Okay, so here we have reduced some parameters about the book, and we have taken there are 5 parameters we have taken. One is book id, second is book name, second is third is author name, and fourth is n pages, and last is price. They all are of different data type, and here you can see we have created a global variable of type struct book. Okay, and if we have type def, if would we would have type def like this. Okay, we would have type like, so we would have written like this: struct book type def BOOK. So this would have made us feasible to declare any variable. Even we could have been declared here like b book b2. Okay, this we could also create over here. Okay, now this puts, and this puts is to just simply make the user know that what it needs to enter. Here you can see that ampersand b1 has been used. So as soon as this b1 is created, a block of memory is created whose name is b1, and ampersand b1 denotes to the base address of this particular block. Now b1 dot book id, it means the first 4 bytes are the book id of the book id of this particular book. Then since this is scanf, it has an enter, and then there is getters. So this enter would get directly into getters. So that is why this f flush stdin, that is the flushing of the standard input output, is to be is necessary. So we use this f flush stdin, because if you don't write this you will not be able to take getters, because this getters, this enter would enter after scanf would enter into getters. Okay, so in getters we always add the directly the address of the value. So b1 dot b name is directly written here. So b1 dot b name is a string, so that is why you can directly take with the help of getters. Then we take the name of the author, that is getters b1 dot a name. So this is the book id taken. this is the book name taken, this is the author name taken, then this is again percent d. So every time percent d you have to write ampersand b1. So this is the name of number of pages are taken, and this is ampersand b1 dot price. So this is the price of the book which is taken. Okay, now while printing, you can write like this and print it with the respective format specifier. One thing to note, that the format specifiers during the scanf and during the printf always depend upon the uh, data types, fundamental data types of the member elements. Okay, it has nothing to do with b1. Okay, so this percent d, why this is percent d? Because book id is defined in integer. Okay, now why this is percent s? Because it is a string. This b name is a string. Okay, so this is how the format specifiers are declared. Okay, so this is what all about structure. We will see some complex structures and some practical application of structure in the upcoming video. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy, and keep looking for the new videos. Thank you.